Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the MV Simsports GT Sprint Americas powered by Triple Stint. We are here for round 5, once again, here at Detroit for the second time today. And my name is Jarvis Coyd. I'll be your commentator here today. The man pushing the buttons and also the cameras is Julia Marquez, our production, and Eitan Benezra is our executive producer here at HyPrix Studios. And we are here at Detroit, Michigan, around the Grand Prix circuit. A mix of asphalt and concrete await the drivers. The first race began in 1982, a 2.35-mile circuit with 14 turns, and the only street circuit on the calendar. Round 5, it's a 2x 30-minute event. So 2 heats of 30 minutes with 1 mandatory stop in both races. And we are coming to the end of the GT Sprint Series calendar. Next race is also Daytona, but first, as always, Detroit. And mvsimsports.com. There you can join the Discord to join in on the action for the future events that we have here at MV Simsports, and Instagram, X, Facebook at MV Simsports is your handle. Make sure to follow and like the posts. MV Simsports is sponsored by SimSwag Technologies, Triple Stint, Coach Dave Academy, SimGrid, Heather's Jewelry Hut, and Rogue Energy. And this is what the race is looking like in terms of the weather. It's partly cloudy, 76 degrees Fahrenheit, no chance of rain, and 9 to 11 mile per hour winds southeast. This is what the weather looks like around Detroit at the moment. It's 75 degrees Fahrenheit, partly cloudy with 8 mile per hour winds in this qualifying session. And these are what the GT3 AM standings look like right now. It's close enough at the top with Eric Brosius with 96 points, 4 points ahead of Lucien Breedlove, Benjamin Burrows 55 points, and Trey Mango with 53. Wayne Gardner rounds off the top 5 in GT3 AM with 52. The asterisk, as I remind you, is the SimSwag Cup participants. And for GT3 Silver, it's Travis Allen who takes the honours of leading the championship, 4 points ahead of Rick Lawson in second place, Devin Pascoe in third, John Cannon in fourth, and Kamari Odom in fifth place. And this is GT3 Pro with Alberto Alvarez, 104 points, leading Dallas Barron with 88. Dallas Barron with a late surge in this season to try to go against Alberto Alvarez, Andrew Lau in third, Javier Sierra in fourth, and Matt Mosby in fifth place. And these are the prizes for taking first, second, and third place in all of the GT3 Pro, Silver, and AM. And if you do take place in the SimSwag Cup, which is a paid entry, you also have the prizes for P1, P2, and P3. Drivers out there for qualifying, as we do see John Cannon coming into the pits to abandon his current lap. Andrew Lau, currently in fourth place, will come across the line. Where does he go from fourth? He goes and stays in fifth as Alberto Alvarez gets ahead of Andrew Lau, going up into third. It's close enough at the top with Dallas Barron currently taking original pole position with 127. Darlucio goes up into second place in GT3 Silver. Doyle getting ahead of Schleman. Eduardo Padilla across the line. He goes from 20th and stays in 20th. Dallas Barron across the line, going from first, stay in first place. Didn't improve on his last lap. Wayne Gardner currently 24th place, as we do see Juan Rodriguez currently in 14th place, looking to propel himself up the grid in the Porsche 911 GT3 car. 1 out of what I believe is 5 if we include below 22nd. And Juan Rodriguez coming through turn 13. And we'll come across the line now Where can he place himself? Can he improve from a current 14th overall position? Yes, goes up into 9th, 22 thousandths behind Schleman. Terra Lance with personal bests sectors all throughout his lap, goes from 15th and stays in 15th place. Eduardo Badia with Indy Aston Martin is improving but backs out the lap. He's done. Kamari Odom currently 18th place in the Ford Mustang, looking to try to climb up in GT3 Silver. We see Juan Rodriguez on the slowdown lap as he stops toe back into the pits. And that is the end for drivers to complete their qualifying laps. It looked to be Dallas Barron who took the pole position here with in second. Banning 3.5 tenths further back. Alberto Alvarez has to settle for third place with Matt Mosby 5 thousandths, eluding him to beat out Alberto Alvarez. Andrew Lau in fifth, Sierra in sixth, Doyle in seventh, Schleman in eighth, Rodriguez in ninth. And for GT3 Silver Pole, it is Travis Allen ahead of Dar Lucio, with Palmer stuck in 12th place overall, Devin Pascoe 3rd place in GT3 Silver, Lawson, Lance, Cannon, Shade, Odom, Cooper, Brosius takes GT3 and pole, Padilla in 21st, Burrows in 22nd, and a few cars below that as well. MV Simsports, the GT Sprint Series, is brought to you by Triple Stint. High quality gloves for questionable quality sim racers, triplestint.com. And if you're looking for a pedal set and SimSwag socks, MV Simsports is also sponsored by SimSwag Technologies, simswagtech.com. As we wait for the countdown in qualifying, this is what the track map looks like. 14 corners, the main overtaking spots being turn 3 and turn 7. Turn 3 after turn 2, it's a run out. You got to get the best exit possible through the S's. It's a good overtaking spot. Also turn 7, it goes and sweeps to the right, to the left. The braking zone a little bit awkward. You've got to get stopped in time for the little Mickey Mouse roundabout section from turns 8 to 11. This is going to be an interesting race. A one-stop strategy causing the drivers to have to pit during this race in this short 30 minutes heat, 30 minutes per heat. We're going to have an interesting one. The walls come ever so closer the more you're under pressure. And being the only street circuit on the calendar, it is a unique challenge that the drivers haven't had experience with in the last season or so. MV Sports GT Sprint Series Americas powered by Triple Stint. We are here for round 5 at the Detroit Grand Prix circuit. MV Sports GT Sprint Series Americas is brought to you by SimSwag Technologies, Triple Stint, Coach Dave Academy, SimGrid, Heather's Jewelry Hut, and Rogue Energy. And we are still Waiting for the countdown to go down. HyPrix Studios, broadcasting, graphic design, photography, Twitter and Instagram at Hy-Prix. Make sure to support us by subscribing to the HyPrix Studios channel if you haven't already, to check out on some wonderful broadcasts. We do have future broadcasts coming very, very soon, so keep an eye on the channel. We do have some cars out on track now, and it's the Ferrari of Tyler. Tyler Manauez, the GT3 Pro driver, coming in a little bit late whilst everybody else has already set laps, but I don't think he's going to be able to set a flying lap. He's on an out lap at the moment. He's got 30 seconds to do one full one. I think the cutoff might come a bit too soon for Tyler Manauez as he heads through turn 12. Ten seconds left on the clock. He'll make it across the line to start a flying lap, but it's unsure if he's going to finish it. Qualifying is now over. 15 minutes on the dot stopped, and the checkered flag being thrown out, and Manauez sent to the shallow realm as we start to get ready for the gridding process. And these are our qualifying results. Dallas Barron showing his pace once again in the sole Lamborghini in the entire event. First place, the Australian, taking reins here in Detroit. Kevin Fanning, second place, 3.5 tenths further back. Alberto Alvarez, 5.5 tenths further back from the pole time. Matt Mosby not too far away at all in fourth. Andrew Lau, Javi Sierra, Blake Doyle, Giancarlo Schleman, Juan Rodriguez in from first to ninth is all GT3 Pro, but Travis Allen just making it into the top 10 overall, GT3 pole, a GT3 silver pole. Joshua D'Arlucio, not too far away. Nathan Palmer in 12th. Devin Pascoe, Brick Lawson, Terrell Lance, John Cannon, Stephen Shade, Kamari Odom, Drew Cooper, Eric Brosius, GT3 and pole. Eduardo Padilla, Benjamin Burrows, Lucien Brilov, Wayne Gardner, and Tyler Manauez didn't set a lap time after joining a little bit later. He starts in last, 25th place. As we look towards the grid, and quite the variety of GT3 cars that we have here today. A few Corvettes, a Lamborghini, a few Fords, Hurricanes, Aston Martins. A lot more varied, and of course, one singular BMW of Tyler Burrows. Burrows in the 22nd place as well. But it's a 2-minute countdown from qualifying ending to the grid getting underway for the short formation lap under the safety car halfway across the race lap. So not too much time for the drivers to heat up their tires, but we will soon get going for the first out of 2 heats here today. And the safety car slowly pulls off away. Dallas Barron in round 3, round 4, winning out 3 out of 3. A late charge for the championship for Dallas Barron. He'll be looking to make that even better as he closes up 102 points versus 88 of Alberto Alvarez versus Barron. He could make a late charge here. This is 1 out of the 2 rounds that we have for the final time. And he's going to have to hope that Alvarez comes in an unfortunate position that will benefit himself, while Alvarez tries to get some consistent points to solidify his championship run in the America Series. But as we cross through turn 12 into turn 13, the safety car will come and peel into the pit lane as we start to have our green flag running. Barron leading the line on the left-hand side. It will be Fanning on the right-hand side. The Corvette trying to make an impression versus the Hurricane, but green flag running. We'll get racing now, and it's a good start for Dallas Barron. In fact, Alvarez has gotten ahead of Fanning heading through turns 1 and 2, and they all just about make it through one piece through turn one. A few cars side by side with each other as we focus on Fanning versus Mosby. Mosby getting it alongside Fanning, but Fanning going from second down into 5th or 6th place side by side between the two Corvettes. Matt Mosby on the inside line. Fanning could break a lot more later into turn 3, caught a bit off guard by the Porsche of Johan Rodriguez. Matt Mosby to the inside of Fanning, and they're still side by side. This time Fanning will have the inside line. No, backs out of it. So Fanning going from second down to 6th. It's not a great start by the Corvette of Fanning whatsoever. As we do see cars going down, and that is D'Arlusio in the Ford Mustang in the background, facing the wrong direction, perpendicular to the racetrack. Second place in GT3 Silver, but no longer there, however. It's Andrew Lau versus Johan Rodriguez. It's McLaren versus Porsche, and Andrew Lau in 3rd place, Johan Rodriguez in 4th. As we head through, this is Palmer versus Lawson. Palmer, part of GT3 Pro, getting ahead of Lawson? No, just about. Around the outside through turn 9. Palmer looking to try to gain back the places that he didn't get during the qualifying session. He's got Terrell Lance ahead of him now. The green Aston Martin just a little bit further ahead as we do see Johan Rodriguez versus Mosby. Mosby putting on the pressure, looking to go down the inside of turn 1, backs out of it, setting up for a better move at turn 3. Porsche versus Corvette. Oh, contact between Johan Rodriguez and Matt Mosby, and Matt Mosby having to avoid a potential crash between himself and the Porsche. Rodriguez defending on the outside. Matt Mosby dives down the inside of turn 3 and will go up into 4th place overall. Now look at Fanning in the background trying to get ahead of Johan Rodriguez, trying to take advantage as we do see Palmer versus Lance. Palmer around the outside of Lance. Lance in the Heavens Jewelry Hut colours. And Lance defend down the inside as Palmer goes for the switchback overtake. Terrell Lance is caught out with a slide with the rear, and Palmer is ahead now. Fanning versus Rodriguez goes down to 1.5 tenths of a second as they head into turn 6 to 7. Fanning looking for a move, also ahead of the Porsche. Not enough to go for the overtake this early on. As we do see Terrell Lance versus Lawson. Terrell Lance defends the inside middle of the racetrack. That allows Padilla to go alongside Lawson, but not being able to do it. A bit of coming a bit closer to Padilla was Cooper in the blue and white Ferrari. It's no dice for Cooper. Eric Grosius in 19th place in the black 6.9 Porsche 911 GT3 car. He's now leading GT3 AM. As we do see Burrows getting close to Palmer. Rodriguez alongside Fanning. Fanning to the inside. Rodriguez will have the inside line through turn 2. Look at the green Aston Martin waiting in the wings. That's Doyle and Schleman in the Porsche as well, side by side between. It's going to be a 4-car battle. 4th, 5th place as we do see the Aston Martin pushing along the Corvette. The Corvette will have the racing line. Johan Rodriguez tries to go down the inside to defend this position, but it will be Fanning who goes up into 5th place ahead of Rodriguez. Rodriguez can't fight back through turn 4, and in fact will be under pressure by the Aston Martin, who will go down the inside of the Porsche, backs out of it. Doyle will have to wait through to 6 and 7 as we exit out of 6. This is for the battle now. Rodriguez and Doyle for 6th place. And Doyle in the Aston Martin looking to go ahead of the Porsches. Meanwhile, in the race lead, Dallas Barron ahead of Alvarez by 1 second. He's in a comfortable margin in the only Huracan in the entire series. Alvarez 1 second further back after taking 2nd place away from Fanning, who had an awful start starting from the front row. As we do see Doyle versus Rodriguez heading through turn 12 into turn 13. Got to get the best run possible at the exit of it. We do see sometimes the cars grazing on the left-hand wall, trying to eke out as much straight line performance as you possibly can to get the best exit possible heading through turns 1 and 2. It's a wonderful S's try to set up for the best exit possible into turn 3, and Doyle has done exactly that at the expense of hitting the wall on the exit. As we head down to turn 3, he's now under pressure from Schleman in the Porsche. Schleman trying to go onto the outside, backs out of it, waits for another opportunity because it comes thick and fast. The next opportunity in turn 6. We do see Padilla versus Lawson. Padilla ahead of Lawson. Lawson has damage at the front of that 296 GT3 car, as we do see Breedlove getting ahead of Cooper. Cooper having problems as well, side by side, and oh dear, that's Lewis Breedlove and Cooper involved in the collision. And that is Cooper facing the wrong direction now. Breedlove now in 3rd place in GT3 AM. Burrows got ahead of him. And now he'll be under pressure from Kamari Odom. That in the background is, I believe, Gardner in the McLaren, 23rd place. So he's now in the wall, but will join back onto the racetrack, as we do see Breedlove and Odom getting close to each other. They're both teammates, mind you, for SimSwag Technologies, as Kamari Odom now has to look at his rear mirrors to see Manawa is part of GT3 Pro. Rodriguez versus Doyle, 1.5 attempts, splitting the two cars as Rodriguez tries to get the back exit, hits the wall on the outside. Doyle, he could go for a last dive bomb, overtaking the turn 3, but will back out of it, decides to give it some time to brew, waiting for perhaps Joan Rodriguez to make a mistake, or waiting for him to close up on pure pace alone. Rodriguez doesn't have anybody to punch the air in front of him, so he's all alone trying to defend around this street circuit. This battle, though, has allowed the cars behind to catch up, such as Sierra, Pasco, Shade, and Allen, all catching up to this train, led by Rodriguez in the blue and cyan, teal Porsche. You can see Schlemmer getting racy through turns 9, 10, and 11. Yes, Martin tries to go down the inside of Joan Rodriguez. It's contact between the two cars. They both go in the T formation, and Doyle is stopped. Contact between Doyle and Rodriguez. A hasty move as John Cannon tries to filter pass through the GT3 cars. As now Rodriguez and Doyle now 12th and 14th overall. Palmer joining in on the action, however, as well, trying to overtake now Joan Rodriguez. But that battle has promoted Schlemmer and Sierra up into 6th and 7th place through turns 1 and 2. Cannon has 3 GT3 Pro drivers, 3 angry GT3 drivers right behind him, so he has to keep an eye on his rear mirrors, as we do see Rodriguez versus Palmer. Palmer on your right-hand side, Rodriguez on the inside, trying to defend this position, stays ahead. For now you've got 2 teammates of Palmer and Doyle waiting to get a bit racy with the car in front. As we exit out to turn 6, who gets the best run? The Aston Martin with its strong V8 into turn 7. Not close enough, however. In fact, Rodriguez might be looking to try to get past Cannon as well. For the heavy break, it's over turn 11. It's front bumper to rear bumper between the Porsche and the 2 Aston Martins. 2 Porsches, actually, if you include Cannon as well. Exiting out to turn 13. It's a run down into turn 1, as we do see Doyle come into the pits for the first time in this race. Doesn't think that spending time in this train will be beneficial enough for him. He goes for the undercut. Thinks that the traffic will slow him down, so he wants to get a little bit of clean air to try to gain up back a little bit of time, as we do see Palmer trying to figure out a way past Rodriguez, but backing out of the move, lifting and coasting. Up ahead, Joan Rodriguez trying to compose himself after that move. He finds himself behind John Cannon in the MV Simsports Porsche. Devon Pascoe, 8 tenths away, leading GT3 Silver semi-comfortably, 1.2 seconds ahead of Stephen Shade. Devon Pascoe going strong around here, is currently following Javi Sierra. Just staying at the back of Javi Sierra will allow the Mustang to be pulled along with the hell of the slipstream. So Devon Pascoe in a much more beneficial position, as we do see Benjamin Burrows in the 777 BMW, in the only BMW leading the line in GT3 AM. Cutting back to Juan Rodriguez, trying to figure out how to move. Eric Brosius has parked up the car. He's retired from this race. We're watching Tero Lance, 2.4 seconds away from Palmer and under pressure from Badia in the Aston Martin. Palmer getting ever so closer to the rear of Juan Rodriguez. No dice still. Even though it's a 30-minute race, you can be patient and wait for the others to make a mistake. I do wonder, because Doyle is still in the pits, I think he might have been done for this race. He doesn't want to go for the undercut. He's not going and trying to pursue cars in front. He's out for heat 1. Breedlove has a black flag, which means that he has to serve a drive-through penalty, and that means that it will be Breedlove's championship hopes might be slightly under risk, because we do see Benjamin Burrows under pressure for Kamari Odom. 2 separate classes, so Kamari Odom just needs to get past in order to not lose too much time and try to catch up to Badia, as Alvarez is our first pitter in this race. Alvarez pitting from P2. He's going to be trying to get the undercut on the other cars around him. Alvarez with a different strategy compared to his Europe ventures. He's now pitting about 5 minutes earlier than he usually does. 17 minutes into both Heat 1 and Heat 2, he came into the pits. But now, 5 minutes a bit earlier, it's a very early pit stop. But he thinks that that's going to be the chance where he can actually get ahead, perhaps, of Barron. He was 1 second back of Barron. Maybe the gap was starting to pull away from him. But he's looking forward to see what this strategy can do. 4.4 seconds is the gap to Padilla, but he's got a lapped Cooper ahead of him to get past. Speaking of Padilla, putting on the pressure versus Tero Lance. He's exiting out of turn 6, but the Mustang, with its front engine layouts, the rear becomes a little bit twitchy. So does the Aston Martin. In fact, the Aston Martin may be prone to do a little bit more so. The strengths of the Aston Martin is that it's very strong in medium speed corners, which are, let's face it, not too few and far between around Detroit. It's a little bit slow here and there, especially around turn 11. I was saying a little bit lazy through turn 11 as we head into turn 12. Onto the pit straight. It's Lance versus Padilla. This is for 5th place in GT3 Silver. As we do see Kamari Odom come into the pits, a strong hit of the wall by the Aston Martin. That has to have done some damage to the Aston Martin, as we do see Alberto Alvarez try to lap the Ferrari of Cooper. The longer that Alberto Alvarez is stuck behind lap traffic, the less that it will work out for his strategy. And he's going to be increasingly frustrated that blue flags haven't been taken notice as of yet in this race, as we do see Andrew Lau now being put under pressure versus Matt Mosby. But Andrew Lau does see a Simsports Technologies Mustang ahead of him that he would like to get past as swiftly as possible. Andrew Lau comes into the pits, so does Mosby, so does Fanning. So the only GT3 car, maybe Schlemmer will continue on. Yes, he does. So Barron, Schlemmer, Sierra, they all stay out. So now that's your 1, 2, and 3. Pasco continues on as well. So 3 pitters, perhaps responding to Alvarez's pitting at this time as well, trying to cover off the undercut. Now, where does Alvarez come out in relation to the cars, his competitors? He was in second place before. As he exits out of the pits, he'll still be second on the road, it should be. Fanning versus Mosby, the 2 Corvettes. We'll be looking to get past Cooper. Alberto Alvarez doesn't have to worry about that now. But Fanning approaching the rear of the blue and white Ferrari. Fanning trying to not waste too much time. Max Mosby pulling up to the rear as the blue and white Ferrari of Cooper does get out of the way. Padilla dropping down places. Something's happened to Padilla as he's going down the places. Yep, he's crashed, I believe, at the exit of turn 2. And this is what happened to Padilla. Exiting out of the pit lane. Tires a little more cold than usual. A little less grip on the pit lane. A little bit wide. It's just a loss of the rear immediately. The Aston Martin is very tough on traction. And a mistake like that has dropped him down to 21st place. That's Burrows into the wall, head first into the wall, and he's now lost. No, he's still in the race lead in GT3 AM, but for how long as the others came into the pits? Yeah, Benjamin Burrows heading into the wall, and well, we'll have to continue on. He's in 19th place. Mosby versus Fanning. In turns 1 and 2, Mosby putting all the pressure, getting the better exit out of turn 2. Fanning defending on the inside line. Mosby has no choice but to take the racing line. Who breaks later? The 2 Corvettes side by side, but Fanning gets the upper hand, stays ahead of Mosby for now. Baron, Schlemmer, and Sierra all continue on for another lap, so they're not reacting to anything. They're looking to go a little bit longer for the overcuts. They're not really in an all-out battle, so they're doing fine enough out there. Shade Cannon also continue on, currently 4th and 5th place in GT3 Silver. Overall, 1st and 2nd place in GT3 Silver, my apologies. As we do see Baron come into the pits. As the Baron exits out of the pits, what does Schlemmer choose to do as well? Schlemmer continues, no. Immediately coming into the pits as well. Savvy Sierra continues on, so he inherits the race lead ahead of Baron. Where does Alvarez come out as he exits out of turn 13? Where's Baron? Baron now is exiting out of the pits. Baron has pulled out very much ahead of Alvarez by a comfortable margin. In fact, Andrew Lau is up into 2nd place when the Javi Sierra and Shades come into the pits, and Alvarez now is down to 3rd on the road. The undercut has not worked out for Alvarez. He's down at 1 place than he was previously. And Dallas Baron can look ahead to see a little bit of clean air that he can use to try to pull away from Andrew Lau. Lau looking for his first race win. Don't count him out. We've been talking about the championship, 2 championship leaders of Alberto Alvarez and Baron, but you know, there's other drivers on the track as well. You got to keep an eye on such as Andrew Lau. Meanwhile, Devin Pascoe still stays in the race lead of GT3 Silver, currently 1 second ahead of Allen in the McLaren. So Pascoe still in all-out brawl as the Steamy Works McLarens in GT3 Silver and GT3 Pro both in 2nd place. So City Raceworks trying to pursue for a race win in either category, as we do see Steven Shade come into the pits but a little bit slower as he has ran out of fuel. Tried to extend it a little bit longer, but it hasn't worked out for Shades. A little bit slow. Where does Sierra come out? He comes into the pits, but I believe that during this last lap, that Sierra and Shade tried to extend it. Javi Sierra will now end up a lot further back to Schleman than he was previously. Meanwhile, Lau versus Baron. Lau has closed up to Baron by a considerable margin. Lau has been on these tyres, got this set of tyres a little bit more warmed up as he pitted a lap earlier, 2 laps earlier than Baron did. So Baron's still trying to get heat back into the tyres, but the McLaren will want to race for track position. Baron feels the need to go defensive in the middle of the racetrack, cuts back onto the racing line. It's super close. Baron is going to want to have these tyres activated and the pace to come to him as soon as he possibly can, but Lau is continuing to pursue him through turns 9 to 11. Exiting out of 11 down into 12. And Alvarez is going to have to hope that these 2 cars will continue battling to bring him into the race lead as well. Through the start-finish straight into turns 1 and 2. The McLaren has some strong straight line speed if you can use it. Exiting out and a bit of a graze of the wall by Andrew Lau as we head into turn 3. Baron, it's extremely close between these drivers here. As we do look at the replay, that is Juan Rodriguez in the wall as, Cooper involved as well. So this is coming across the start-finish straight, heading into turns 1 and 2. So what happens here exactly? The Porsche going through, and it's blind. No time to react. Cooper didn't tow back into the pits in time, and that is just extremely unfortunate. Through turn 2, it's just a blind corner. You can't see the exit, and Juan Rodriguez had no time to react at all. I mean, it's just extremely unfortunate that, well, a few other cars came into it, but Juan Rodriguez trying to take the best lines possible. That is one of the McLarens, obviously having Sierra avoiding. Yeah, it's just taken way too long for Cooper to tow back into the pits. It's a danger out on track, and well, that's just extremely unfortunate for Juan Rodriguez. Meanwhile, D'Arlusio pursuing Lawson for, what is this? 7th place in, or 6th place, 7th place in GT3 Silver. Lucio trying to figure out a way past Lawson, but can't go through at turn 7. As we do see Palmer trying to get past Cannon for P10 overall. Doesn't affect Cannon's points if the Aston Martin does get past due to the differing license classes being counted differently. And well, Palmer trying to figure out a way past, exiting out of the... As we do see Alvarez versus Lau goes down to 0.3 of a second as well, between P2 and P3. And exiting out, John Rigid. Yeah. As we do see Lau trying to figure out a way past, that is Benjamin Burrows in the BMW, trying to get lapped as well. But this has hampered Andrew Lau's pursuit of the race lead entirely, as Benjamin Burrows, as Andrew Lau goes down the inside through turn 1. It's extremely close here, my goodness me. Heading out of turn 2, Andrew Lau is going to be loathing that BMW may have ruined his chances of staying in P2, as Fanning also gets involved as Mosby. Alberto Alvarez on the outside, braking a little bit later. Andrew Lau defending, trying to keep this 2nd place, but it's all for not so far. Still defending into turn 4, but Alvarez shooting around the outside. Now goes up into P2, and Fanning looking to go close to Andrew Lau as well. Stuck behind the blue flag traffic, and Lau losing a couple of places there. Now heading through turn 7. Sees that he's got a Corvette behind him. In fact, 2 Corvettes of Fanning and Mosby. And Lau was once getting closer to Barron, looking for a potential move. Was 3 tenths back on the race lead, is now dropping even further back. While the Corvettes looking to get a little bit past around Detroit. Heading out to turn 13 as we cut back to Cannon versus Palmer, but it's getting extremely close between Lau and Fanning for the top 3. Turn 3 awaits, doesn't it? Fanning getting ever so closer. And a battle for P2 between 4 cars from 3rd and 2nd down to 5th. Now we're starting to drop back in terms of the delta, manages to catch back up through turn 6. But this is going to be who doesn't crack in the midst of battle. Oh, and now Go Brakes a little bit later, manages to avoid the outside wall. But now has positioned himself in the less beneficial position than he previously would be. He doesn't lose too much time, luckily for him. Meanwhile, Barron is running away from Alberto Alvarez in this 4-car battle. It's lucky to not be involved in this battle. Remember, the race results of Heat 1 go into Heat 2. So with 3 minutes left to go, this is not just only for results. This is for a grid position around the street circuit. So it's all the more important that they finish ahead of their other competitors, as we see Mosby trying to go against Fanning through turns 1 and 2. 2 turns split between the Corvettes. Fanning still ahead of Mosby. When does the dice begin to roll? We've got 2 minutes remaining. It can just stay like this, and for all the cars out there, they wouldn't be too unhappy with it. Probably the only car being Fanning, as he starts from 2nd, now dropped back. Gardner, our GT3 AM leader, as Burrows went into the wall a little bit earlier. Gardner now leading the line. Cannon still ahead of Palmer. This isn't for championship points, so he stays in 10th overall. Now approaching the back of Alvarez. He lost his position a couple of laps ago. And he's looking to get past once again. We're now heading into white flag. This is most likely the final lap of racing. There's, contact with the wall on the outside, trying to get the best exit possible. For the final lap of this race. Turn 6. Does anybody go for the move? There's Dallas Barron. And through turn 7, joined by his other competitors right behind. They're not close enough to go for the move. 15 seconds left on the clock. And for Dallas Barron, it looks to be the race lead. Oh, we have the GT3 AM blue flag. Will there be a potential move? I don't think so. But for Dallas Barron heading through turn 13, turn 12, turn 13. This is true. I can't wait to see what happens. But for Dallas Barron across the line to win in GT3 Pro. Well done to Dallas Barron for winning in Heat 1. Alvarez and Laos almost very, very close. Second and third place, as it's 1/10 side by side almost between Alvarez and Lau. Fanning 8/10 back in fourth, Mosby in fifth, as Schlemmer finishes in sixth place. Sierra will finish 6.9 seconds back in seventh. Pasco will win in GT3 Silver. Well done to him. Ahead of Allen, and Cannon will finish in third in GT3 Am. Palmer finishes 11th overall, 8th place in GT3 Pro. Terrell Lance will finish fourth. And below that, Shade and Nawaz. And the other cars coming across the line too. With Kamari Odom in 15th overall, right behind, right in front of Doyle. Lawson and our Lucio. Our GT3 Am winner was Gardner. We did see him come across the line at the same point as our GT3 Pro competitors. So well done to Gardner for winning in GT3 Am. Burrows in second place. Brulov is still running across the track at the moment. We do see Steven Shade do a little bit of drifting before the start of Heat 2. This is Lucien Brulov coming across the line, even with a black flag with a drive-through, still finishes in third. And that is it for the running in Heat 2. As these are our results, it's Dallas Barron who takes the race win once again. It's for the past couple of rounds, he's been winning every single race, it feels like. Alberto Alvarez in second place, Andrew Lau for third. Very, very close, just over a tenth of a second between second and third place. Kevin Fanning, Matt Mosby, Giancarlo Schleman, Javi Sierra rounds off your top 7 in GT3 Pro. For 8th place overall, but first place in GT3 Silver, Devin Pascoe for the win. Well done to him. Ahead of Travis Allen and John Cannon rounds off your top 10 overall. Then Nathan Palmer in 11th, Terrell Lance, Stephen Shea, Tyler Manawaz, Kamari Odom, Blake Doyle, Brick Lawson, Joshua Darlucio, Wayne Gardner, and Benjamin Burrows. In 19th and 20th, Wayne Gardner taking honours for the race win in GT3 Am, losing Breedlove 21st. Eric Brosius, Juan Rodriguez, Drew Cooper, and Eduardo Padilla all retired after they had their collisions. As we are in the middle of a 5-minute break, warm-up if you would like to call it, this gives the drivers time to practice, take a break in between heats. So we do have a few cars going around the track at this moment in time. Dallas Barron choosing the 5 minutes to get a little bit more running around a very cloudy Detroit Grand Prix circuit. It's a bit more cloudy than it was in Heat 1, but he's getting some laps in there. Drew Cooper also doing exactly that as well. And MV Simsports and the GT Sprint Series is sponsored by Triple Stint. If you're looking for high quality gloves for questionable quality sim races, make sure to check out triplestint.com. And if you're looking for a pedal set, as well as some socks, make sure to go to SimSwag Technologies. MV Simsports is proud to be partnered by SimSwag Technologies, simswagtech.com. Cutting back to the race footage, however, and well, this is a replay of what happened to Juan Rodriguez heading through turn 1, turn 2 to make him retire from Heat 1. So you can see how blind it is. He now just sees the Ferrari and making contact with the Ferrari. Everybody else just missing the incident, just reacting in time. But understeering the Porsche as you get onto the throttle, you can't really turn it as much as you want. It's tough out there. But regardless, we are in the middle of our 5-minute warm-up / break, whatever you want to call it, in between heats, and cars continuing to exit out of the pit lane to get a little bit more time on the track. 1.5 minutes left to go, and then we get into a 1 minute gridding process between this warm-up and heat 2. This is Dallas Barron, the only Hurricane out on track, and our winner in heat 1. That was a lap of Dallas Barron across the Detroit GP circuit, and it makes me grin every single time I listen to the onboard of that Hurricane. But this is what the weather looks like for the second race. 69 degrees Fahrenheit, partly cloudy with 7 mile per hour wind. So not too different from heat 1. But it's the drivers starting the grid off with where they finished in heat 1. That's what this 2-heat system is all about, and it will be Dallas Barron once again on pole, but this time seeing a new face on his left-hand side. It will be Alberto Alvarez in second place, Andrew Lau, Kevin Fanning, Matt Mosby, Giancarlo Schleman, Javi Sierra finishing off in GT3 Pro, Devin Pascoe in 8th place, then Travis Allen, John Cannon, Nathan Palmer, Terrell Lance, Stephen Shea, Tyler Manauez, Kamari Overton, Blake Doyle, Brick Lawson, Joshua D'Arlucio, Wayne Gardner, Benjamin Burrows, Lucien Breelub, Eric Brosius, Johan Rodriguez, Drew Cooper, and Eduardo Padilla rounds off your 25 car grid. As we do get immediately off the line in the Porsche safety car, the Italian-coloured Hurricane over this past, starting off in Hockenheim, has won out every single race, including this weekend as well. It's, I believe, 5 out of 5 wins with the 2 heats. No, 4 out of 4 wins so far. He could make it 5 out of 5 if he does win in the second time here today. But as we head through turn 11, he's got Alberto Alvarez alongside him. Alberto Alvarez himself, not a slouch. He won both races in the GT Sprint Europe Championship. So, he's got a fierce competitor alongside him, does Dallas Barron. Heading on towards the main straight. It's a 2x12 formation with the 25 cars out on track. Dallas Barron on your left-hand side will have the inside line into turn 1. When does he go? It's now. Dallas Barron getting a good start, and it's all through turn 1. Andrew Lau tries to go down the inside of Alberto Alvarez. It's side-by-side between Corvettes as Matt Mosby gets ahead of Fanning. Heading out of turn 2 into turn 3. It's side-by-side between Allen and Pascoe for the lead of GT3 Silver. Allen and Pascoe in the Ford and Mustang, as we do see Andrew Lau go very deep into turn 3 and making contact just about staying ahead. It's extremely close as Cannon Shade going alongside him in the Porsche, and As we do see Palmer versus Sierra heading through turn 5. McLaren down the inside of Aston Martin. Aston Martin making contact with the wall. They continue on as they were. Meanwhile, problems for Lucent Breedlove. The Simsports Technologies Mustang parked up on the side. That's Benjamin Burrows also there, facing the wrong direction as well. As we do see Sierra still defending from Palmer, and Palmer looking to see behind him that he is the lead, not lead, second place in GT3 Silver. Meanwhile, Barron starting to pull away immediately after the first lap. The gap now was about 1 second. It goes down to 5/10 as Barron struggling to exit out of turn 11. He's pulled off to the right-hand side. Oh, there's problems for Dallas Barron. Was it another wheelbase problem? He had this problem in Sebring, and look at that. He's retired from this race. There was problems with Dallas Barron. Despite pulling away, he's now retired from this race. As we do see Fanning versus Schlerman heading into turn 3. But for added context of past incidents that Dallas Barron has had, in Sebring he was leading by a comfortable margin, and then the wheelbase problem caused him to veer violently to the left or right into the grass, at which point he had to retire. So a similar action here today as well. He is retired from this race. Schlerman putting on the pressure versus Fanning. And now Alvarez will lead this race ahead of Mosby and Lau in third. Fourth place is Fanning, who is still continuously putting on the pressure at the back of the McLaren. As we do see Fanning try to go down the inside of Lau, which returns to the outside into turn 11. But no dues there for the Corvette. In fact, a train starting to form at the back of Andrew Lau. Mosby and Alvarez starting to run away with it. Race of the wall, as we do see Lau coming in for a very early stop in this race. Does he have damage, or is he going in for a strategic stop? This is very early. We've just completed lap 2 and this is lap 3. So incredibly interesting from Andrew Lau there. Competing very highly in this championship, but now pitting at this point in the race. As we do see Palmer versus Pascoe. Pascoe doesn't fight for it. Pascoe, his points are counted differently from the cars around him. Sierra in GT3 Pro, Pascoe in GT3 Silver. So he allows the pass without too much problem. Manau is getting close to Cannon for 10th to 11th place. As we do see, there's a lap traffic in between. Manauez having to back off the throttle in order to not make contact with the lap traffic, as I believe that is Lucent Breedlove across the full Mustang, cutting across the curb, but managing to not get too involved in any incident. Palmer getting close to Pascoe as well, trying to go for the overtake to try to not waste too much time. Oh no! GT3 Silver, Devin Pascoe over the curves and into the wall. That's the threat of what happens, and Devin Pascoe now continuously under pressure versus Allen and Shade. Both McLaren teammates in GT3 Silver getting ahead of the Ford Mustang. It's now a Stevie Raceworks 1 and 2 in the McLaren. Devin Pascoe, the momentary maybe lapse or maybe influenced by the Aston Martin, continuously dropping down. Now we see the McLaren of Shade fighting out with Manauez. It's almost 4 wide into turn 3. John Cannon gets ahead of the McLaren just about, but an insane battle caused by Devin Pascoe's loss of positions here. Manauez at the back of Pascoe for GT3 Pro. I was trying to get the overtake done ahead of Pascoe without wasting too much time. And this is for the lead of GT3 Silver, Allen versus Callan. Oh, no, that's not second place in GT3 Silver, my bad. The train started to form at the back of Devin Pascoe. He has damage for sure. Jumping over that curb into the wall, you don't survive that without any sort of performance loss, and he's going to be struggling further into this race. Cannon just ahead of Shade by 0.4 of a second. Doyle and Menalves trying to filter past Devin Pascoe. Pascoe goes onto the inside line. Does he allow the move? Menalves goes around the outside, which will switch to the inside. Menalves still side by side between Devin Pascoe and himself. As we do see Brick Lawson getting involved in this battle as well in the white Ferrari. Devin Pascoe to the inside versus Menalves and doesn't fight it out. In fact, he just about allows the Aston Martin through, but Devin Pascoe having to cut across the curb, and now it's side by side between Joao Rodriguez and that is Kamari Odom, and Kamari Odom involved in the collision with Joao Rodriguez, and well, Odom is not going to appreciate that in the slightest. 14th place Brosius finds himself in a war, but he's leading GT3 and regardless. Cannon versus Shade for the second place in GT3 Silver. For second place, Shade would like to make it Steaming Raceworks 1 and 2. It'll be good for the team and they'll be extremely happy with themselves. Not that they aren't already. I mean, first and third is nothing to scoff at in the slightest, but it's just an added cherry onto the top. As Menalves versus Doyle will continue. Menalves having some trouble with a little bit of damage on the front right of his car, but regardless, continues on with some semi-strong pace. As Brosius getting ahead of Pascoe. Pascoe coming into the pits after having that bit of damage. 7 minutes in, by the way, out of 8. 7 minutes in out of 30. And it's been utter chaos, to say the least. Cannon versus Shade for P2 and GT3 Silver. No dues for Shade at the moment, just about. Mind you, Pascoe having a black flag that signifies that he's got a drive-through penalty, I believe, for speeding in the pits if it's come out at this time. And look at Mosby versus Alvarez. It goes down to 0.3 of a second for the race lead overall as well. Alvarez being put under pressure from Mosby. Mosby, for people who didn't pay attention to GT Sprint Series Europe, had a bit of a practice session in Heat 2. So he's now applying his trade in GT Sprint Americas, where he is the main participator in. Steven Shade constantly putting Cannon under pressure. Cannon has already got experience defending around this Detroit Grand Prix circuit, at least for now. He's now put under more pressure versus the McLaren. Heading into turn 12, it's contact and heavy hit into turn 12. And Cannon, well, that car will probably have seen better days. That is a battle, and he's got heavy damage on that car. Menalves versus Doyle for 8th and 9th place overall, but contact for Cannon, and he's got the meatball flag, which signifies that he has to come into the pits. Luckily, the the pit lane not too far away, but Cannon is going to be frustrated by that, as we do see Brosius versus Odom. Odom on the outside, Brosius on the inside, as Kamari Odom hangs around the outside. Brosius not fighting that battle too hard. Two different license classes counted differently in championship points. Now, back to the race lead. It's Alvarez versus Mosby. Dallas Barron with problems with his car, or with his setup, forcing him to retire from this race after a jolt of the car going to the left and then to the right. Extremely odd, but has had similar problems in the past. So unfortunate to Dallas Barron, he retires, but regardless, it will be Alvarez versus Mosby for the race lead. So for Alvarez, this is very comfortable for him. He leads out the championship in GT Sprint Series Americas in the race lead. Now, we do have Cooper versus, as we switch back to Menalves versus Doyle, coming on to through turn 14 into turn 1. Is the Aston Martin close enough for a move into turn 3? Now we cut to Cooper versus Brosius into turn 1. Cooper on the inside. There's contact between the not the Aston Martin, the Porsche and the Ferrari. And hopefully the cars can see the Porsche positioned in the middle of the racetrack. Brosius retires from the race after leading in GT3 AM for quite some time. Now the gap beginning to spread between Alvarez and Mosby. Cutting to Doyle versus Menawes. I think Doyle is very content in following Menawes from now as they try to catch up to the front of the pack. It's Allen and Shade 1 and 2 as Cannon comes back out in 19th place, but luckily there is a fast repair, one single fast repair that the drivers do have. "12 minutes into this race, this is where we start to see some early pitters, like for genuine strategy calls. Now, you would say that, but for Andrew Lau, who came in at the start on lap 3, he practically went throughout this race. At the start of it, P3 without too much damage. Menawes comes into the pits and decides it's time to call it now to do his mandatory stop. But yes, Andrew Lau was in P3 at the end of lap 2, but at the start of lap 3 comes into the pits and now he's at the back in 13th place. Now, is he looking to go to the end after pitting on lap 3? Does he think that pitting at that point, getting a little bit of clean air, not being stuck behind P1 and P2, but now he finds himself stuck behind, in terms of his license class and his performance metrics, slower cars. He now finds himself at the back of the Ferrari of Drew Cooper. So, was this strategy an interesting call? A smart call? We'll see when it comes, when everybody else filters out, when they come into the pits. Rodriguez catching up to Lawson for 9th overall. As we head into turn 11, it's the Porsche getting ever so closer to the Ferrari, barreling down to turn 1. Juan Rodriguez comes into the pits for his first stop, doesn't think that he wants to be fighting along with Ferrari, comes into the pits to avoid that battle as Alvarez versus Mosby goes down to 4.5 tenths. Now, when you're this close to each other for the race lead, how much fuel that you put into the car is extremely paramount. Does anybody risk underfueling the car? Does anybody risk overfueling the car? We've seen past race events about 2 hours ago with the GT Sprint Europe, cars underfueling but then having to compromise, and the cars that put in a substantial amount of fuel pushing to the end without any problems whatsoever, and the underfueled cars were continuously under pressure. Then you know what happens after that. So Alvarez versus Mosby is going to get interesting for the race lead. Doyle's at the back of Shade. This is for 7th place overall, as we do see Mosby come into the pits for an early stop versus Alvarez. Mosby hitting from 2nd will now drop several places. Where does he filter out, and will he be stuck behind a couple of drivers in traffic? That's the next question, as we do see Doyle come into the pits. It's now Cannon trying to get past Gardner down the outside through turn 7. Gardner not wasting any time in defending, continues on in 2nd place in GT3 AM. Drew Cooper is facing the wrong direction entirely. 19th place Drew Cooper is facing perpendicular to the racetrack. with a bit of damage. And, well, he's going to be down several places now, as we do see Manalwes in 11th place. Cannon sees Burrows come into the pits, trying to recover from a wreck. He'll continue on. So, Mosby came out in 8th place overall, 1.4 seconds back of Lawson. What does Alvarez do to respond? He continues on. So he continues on for another lap, Alvarez. So Matt Mosby will have to wait for a little bit longer to see when Alvarez comes into the pits. Mosby with a second life now, continuing on to push, and he's approaching the back of Brick Lawson. Depending on how long he is at the back here of slower traffic, it's going to affect his outcome, whether he's fighting for the race lead or not. He could even lose positions. Matt Mosby not wasting any time, going down the inside of turn 3. Lawson not defending this at all. Continues on. Knows that it's not his fight. Mosby up into 7th overall as Odin comes into the pits and he exits out in a battle for 4th place in GT3 Silver. He's 10 to 7 seconds ahead of Terra Lance. Now Alvarez coming to the end into turn 11. When does he come into the pits? Does he come now? Fanning is 2 seconds away. We're 7.5 minutes into this race. Alvarez does come into the pits, and Fanning will follow him. Schleman in Heat 1 continued on, but he will come into the pits on this lap. Sierra, famously, continues on for another lap as well, trying to take advantage of a longer stint. Now, where is Matt Mosby? As Stephen Shade and Alan come into the pits with the 1 and 2 in GT3 Silver. Matt Mosby comes across the start-finish straight. Alvarez comes out of the pits. Where does he come out? Matt Mosby through turn 1. Alvarez slow out to turn 2, trying to exit out. It's extremely close. Matt Mosby has a run into turn 3, but is he even got the pace? Warmer tyres on the Corvette. On the run down towards turn 3, Alvarez just is able to stay ahead, but heading down the inside, Matt Mosby for the race lead, and Matt Mosby side by side with the Mustang heading out of it. But Matt Mosby having the advantage of some warmer tyres. Alvarez and Mosby making contact side to side, and Alvarez hitting the wall on the left-hand side, and he loses the race lead to Matt Mosby, who has pitted a couple of laps earlier than Alvarez. But now there's a question of whether fuel comes into the equation. This is not going to stop right here, unless Mosby decides to just run away with it with some warm tyres while Alvarez has to heat them up. It's a tough day out there if you're the Mustang. Javi Sierra, when does he come into the pits? He's not into this equation for the race lead, but he continues on. Matt Mosby, yep, Sierra comes into the pits now. Mosby leading this race, and he is starting to pull away very slightly. You can see how hard the drivers are pushing, using the wall with no worries whatsoever. Meanwhile, Fanning 1.9 seconds, 1.8 seconds back. If the drivers in 1st and 2nd place continue to battle, it will bring Fanning and Lau into it. Speaking of Lau, ends up in 4th place after pitting in lap 3. Does he have enough fuel to get to the end? We shall see. Cutting to Alan versus Doyle. Doyle on the inside, Alan on the outside. Knows Alan that he doesn't need to waste any time battling, so it lets him go. Doyle in 8th place. Alan is our GT3 Silver race leader, 1 and 2 between himself and Alan and Shade for Stevie Raceworks. Mosby versus Alvarez. Alvarez is keeping Mosby a bit honest here. The gap to 0.6 of a second. As we start another lap around the Detroit Grand Prix circuit, and well, 9 minutes left to go. So we have crossed over a third of this race, 2/3 of this race being completed, with under a third left to go. I begin to wonder on how this race is going to end. It really depends on its fuel levels and the tires that each of the cars have and how well they behave around Detroit. It's extremely tough out there if you're on worn tires and your pace just begins to drop off entirely. If you use them all in the first stint and you come into the pits, it's a tough ask. 0.6 of a second between Mosby and Alvarez. Fanning isn't getting closer to Alvarez right now, but he's just keeping them a little bit honest, knowing that if there is a battle happening in France, Fanning can just take the win without any problems whatsoever. Another interesting case, Andrew Lau came into the pits on lap 3, about 3 minutes into the race, and well, in a bit of clean air, ends up in 4th place, but he is 1 position back from where he started, where he finished up in lap 2, I mean. So, as Lau does come into the pits for a second stop, so the strategy, Andrew Lau coming in for another fuel stop, it wasn't enough to get to the end, and now we will drop back not only behind Fanning, Schleman, Sierra, and Renauez. It's tough for Andrew Lau. These are what the fastest laps look like at the moment, and Mosby and Alvarez very close in pace, almost negligible. 127.306 for Mosby. For Alvarez, it's a 127.324. So less than 20 thousandths of a second split between them, as we do see D'Alessio versus Cooper in the Ferrari. And Cooper trying to overtake, not D'Alessio, this is Gardner. So Cooper down the inside of Gardner. Gardner defends on the inside. Who gets the better exit? It will be Cooper, and he will take 14th place. Cannon versus Burrows. As Burrows heads into the wall and now allow Cannon to close up into turn 3. And Cannon looking to the inside of the BMW, braking a little bit later. Burrows tries to hang on the outside, can't do it. It's Cannon up into 17th place, trying to salvage basically a wreck into the wall caused with his battle with Steven Shade. We cut back to Juan Rodriguez, who retired in Heat 1 after having a crash right here in this section after seeing a Ferrari wrecked into a wall. He does have Steven Shade ahead of him, who has Brosius to allow. It's extremely close between Shade and Rodriguez. Only 0.3 of a second between the two cars. But this isn't for position. So even if you are Rodriguez, you can see the flash of the headlights. Gets past, it won't be a problem for Shade at all. In fact, Rodriguez is more worried about Andrew Lau, who's only 0.6 further back. So Rodriguez even more desperate to try to get past the McLaren here. And now it's versus Doyle. This is for position for 6th place as they head into another lap. We've got 4 minutes left to go. And for Doyle, trying to get the better exit versus the Ferrari. Rodriguez gets ahead of Shade, but that won't matter in terms of positions in the championship. Yes, Martin, they've been this close the entire race between this Ferrari and Aston Martin. It hasn't subsided in the slightest. Lau towards the inside, on the outside of Rodriguez, goes for the overtake around the outside. Johan Rodriguez keeping him honest onto the inside. Andrew Lau tries to hang around the outside, but it'll be Johan Rodriguez ahead. You could tell that perhaps there was a bit of interference and a bit of help from his Steaming Raceworks teammates of Shade a little bit further back, trying to help Andrew Lau to get ahead of Johan Rodriguez, but alas, no dice. Shade still at the rear here of Andrew Lau, won't get involved into a battle. Also the hairpin into turn 11. We cut to Menarez versus Doyle, as that is the slow-moving Darren Pascoe, who was leading in GT3 Silver, but having a wreck has ruined his race. Heading into turn 3. With 2.5 minutes left to go. Considering the fact that these drivers have made attempts to go for the move at all in this race between the Ferrari and Aston Martin, Doyle was waiting for a chance on the final lap to perhaps go for the move. He's been at the back of this Ferrari for the past 20 minutes, and he will continue to do so. But for Matt Mosby, however, he took the race lead from an undercut, had warmer tyres, had the run on Alberto Alvarez, went down the inside, went alongside Alberto Alvarez for a hard-fought battle between himself and the Mustang behind. He took the race lead with a strong arm, and he's 1 second ahead of his rival. Oh, wait. What? Alvarez has been let go by Matt Mosby, and Alvarez inherits the race lead ahead of Mosby. So, whether it is a decision to let him by after perhaps some possible penalised contact, Mosby lets him by. Andrew Lau versus Rodriguez continues on as there is a lapped Brosius ahead of him, and a flash of the headlights continued on by Johan Rodriguez, trying desperately to plead for Brosius to get out of the way, please, in more profanatory terms. As we do see Lance versus Gardner. Fanning on Mosby swap positions again. Interesting. Mosby letting Fanning go by as Alvarez will continue on for the white flag in this race. This will be the final lap of racing, and Mosby continues to drop back. Has he got any problems in that Corvette? Let's go of Alvarez. I don't know if he had a collision with Fanning, but regardless, lets him go. It's... yeah, okay. He's underfueled the car. He thought that the race was going to end on this lap. The lap where, with 5 seconds left to go, Alberto Alvarez started the final one. And he's trying, let's see if we can go on board with Matt Mosby for a split moment, if we can hear if he's lifting and coasting or not. He's short shifting, trying to get to the end. It is braking zone. When does he choose to brake? Yeah, there's problems with the fuel of that car. He can't get to the end without letting the drivers by. But for Alberto Alvarez, it's not 4 out of 4 wins. Dallas Barron took the 1 in Heat 1. But for Alberto Alvarez heading out of the final corner, Alberto Alvarez will come across the line to win in Heat 2 of this event. Well done to Alberto Alvarez. He wins in GT Sprint Americas to extend his lead in the championship. Fanning comes across the line in second place. Matt Mosby just comes across the line in third. Schliman in fourth. Sierra in fifth. Doyle wasn't able to get ahead of Renales the entire race. Renales in sixth, Doyle in seventh. And Allen wins out in GT3 Silver. Well done to Travis Allen for the Steamy Raceworks team. Lau just gets ahead of Rodriguez across the line by 16 thousandths of a second. My goodness me. Steven Shade in 11th, Lawson in 12th, Darlucio in 13th. 16 thousandths between Lau and Rodriguez. That's insanity. Lau just being able to get ahead of Rodriguez after Rodriguez trying to defend that for such a long time. Darlucio in 13th. Cooper will come across the line in 14th place. Tara Lance in 15th. Gardner comes across the line to win in GT3 AM. Well done to Gardner winning in GT3 AM. He takes 16th overall and wins out in the McLaren. Cannon in 17th. Burrows will be the last car to come across the line in 18th. And that is it. Well done to Wayne Gardner. The Australian wins out in GT3 AM. And these are our results. Alberto Alvarez in first place ahead of Kevin Fanning. Matt Mosby finishes in third place after having to lift and coast to the end. Giancarlo Schliman in fourth. Javi Sierra in fifth. Tyler Manauer in sixth. Blake Doyle in seventh. Travis Allen wins out in GT3 Silver. Andrew Lau in ninth place, 16 thousandths ahead of Johan Rodriguez for a last dash overtake across the line. And Johan Rodriguez rounds off your top 10. Below the top 10 is Stephen Shade in 11th place, Brick Lawson in 12th, Joshua Darlucio in 13th, Drew Cooper, Terrell Lance, Wayne Gardner wins in GT3 AM, John Cannon 17th, Benjamin Burrows, Devin Pascoe, Eric Brosius round off your top 20. Lucien Breedlove, Kamari Odom, 21st and 22nd, Nathan Palmer, Dallas Barron, Eduardo Padilla didn't finish the race. And we are here for the interview pen. And Alberto Alvarez, welcome back to the interview pen. So, interesting race. Heat 1, Dallas Barron got the better of you, finished in P2 regardless. But in Heat 2, Barron with his retirement took the race lead, but in the pit stops, Matt Mosby got ahead of you after an overtake as you came out of the pits. And then you took back it after Matt Mosby let you by. Talk me through Heats 1 and 2.
Hey guys, good to be back.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean race 1, I was trying to stay with Dallas and just overdrove the last corner and smashed it into the wall with damage. I tried to do as many laps as I could to go to the end to pit, and got overcut by Andrew, and then I guess got lucky with the lap car and got the P2 back. So I was mad because I made the mistake, and I was gonna make start P3, but yeah, it worked out. Then I mean race 2, I don't know what happened to Dallas, and they're at lap 1, lap 2, but I guess he was gonna win it. He was a bit faster and could control the pace. Then I mean Matt probably underfueled quite a bit
Yes.
to get the undercut. Then I mean I did not appreciate to get put in the wall and we get wheel damage again, and I was driving quite angrily at the end, and I was going faster than usual, so I don't know what happened there. And then I guess I was surprised to see him like stop like 2 3 laps to the end, and I'll take the win. But yeah, this season has been Dallas all the way. He's been the fastest ever race. I just won by circumstances, so I'll take the win. 3 out of 4 of the day, not the sweep I wanted, but yeah.
Yeah, for what Dallas Barron has had issues with the wheelbase in the past. Sebring, wheelbase problem. Fixed to the left, fixed to the right. Similar problems here today. This time though, a wall. So Dallas Barron needs to get that wheelbase fixed if you're listening. But regardless, well done, Alberto Alvarez, winning 3 out of the 4 heats. If you add Europe and Americas together, well done on your heat 2 again. You'll extend your lead in the championship a couple of, I think it's about 25 points ahead of Barron, but don't quote me on that. But well done to Alberto Alvarez. To you, Alberto Alvarez. Is there anything that you would like to say to the people watching in the virtual grandstands to MV Simsports and its sponsors? And is there anybody else from your side of the team that you would like to shout out?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you. Um, Tonight, the America series, there's been pretty good turnout. So thanks to everybody that joined and keeps joining. It's been fun, and yeah, I mean, thank you guys for the broadcast, John, for putting this on, and I guess this one time I'll shout out my team, SOP. I know we haven't been doing too many races together, but I like to carry the colors as much as I don't like pink, but um, yeah.
Thank you very much. That was Alberto Alvarez winning out in Heat 2 and winning 3 out of the 4 heats in total today. Thank you very much for joining us in the interview, Pen. And we are joined immediately by Travis Allen, winner in GT3 Silver for Steamy Raceworks. Talk me through, I mean, winner in Heat 2, it didn't come too easy because you were constantly surrounded by other cars, whether you liked it or not. GT3 Pros ahead of you, battling out hard. It was practically a war out there. Talk me through that Heat 1 and Heat 2.
Yeah, so Heat 1, I felt like I was kind of getting juggled. I was fighting for my life out there. Couldn't quite get more pace than Devin and Steven. I know Steven had an issue at some point, but Devin, fair play to him on the first heat, and it was about to honestly be the same way on the second one. I'll take the win, but it's definitely a win by intervention of concrete. Um, Devin taking some damage and having to pit kind of took him out of it. So
Yeah.
otherwise, I think he would have had it for silver today. He was quick, but like I said, I'll take it. Just keeping my nose out of everything.
And am I correct that this is your second time winning in this season? You won in Road America, if I'm not mistaken. I hope that I'm correct.
Last week
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. Last week as well. So continuing on with some great form. And next is Daytona. What do you expect next week for the 1 hour race from your side?
I mean, I'm just gonna come back and try and do it again, right?
Yep.
This week helped even with the drop round, kind of build the gap out to Brick a little bit. So he's my race as far as everything goes, and just gotta keep it on his bumper, or keep it in front of him. That's all I need to do next week.
Was there anything else from your side of your the driving in front of you? Because now we're seeing replays of you trying to avoid Devin Pascoe as he did get that damage. Was there anything else during this race that you had to keep an eye on for to take this race win?
Yeah, John was definitely keeping it on my bumper. We always like to push it close. You saw what happened at Hockenheim. So John was my other main focus up until I believe he had an incident this race. When I was dodging Devin that one, I almost got taken out by my teammate because I saw brake lights in front of me sixth gear, and I made a snap call to the right, and thankfully Steven caught it and hit the brakes before I ran into him.
Yeah, we're just watching some replays as you narrowly missed a stranded green Aston Martin. That was extremely close to practically a war out there surrounding you, but luckily not getting involved in too many incidents yourself. Consistent race finish. Well done to Travis Allen. Is there anything you would like to say to the people watching the virtual grandstands, to MV Simsports and its sponsors, and to your side of the garage as well, to your team? Is there anybody that you would like to shout out to?
I think I got all my shout outs out last week with the entire Steamy and Envy teams, but definitely, keep like having everybody showing out. Even in round 5, I saw new names. So it's always fun to have a full grid as much as possible, and hopefully, future seasons and then some future other series that are in the works can get some good population.
Thank you very much. That was Travis Allen, your winner in Heat 2. And we will see you next week for Daytona. But that will be all for the interviews here today. A very interesting race throughout both heats. An interesting event, I mean. So that will be all from us here at MV Simsports for the GT Sprint Series, broadcasted by HyPrix Studios. The last round is Daytona, August 28th, next week on a Friday. 60-minute race in the GT Sprint Americas for the final round of the championship, and don't go missing that. Powered by Triple Stint, and my name's been Jarvis Coyd. The man pushing the buttons and operating the cameras is Julia Marquez. Eitan Benesra is our executive producer here at HyPrix Studios, and from our side of the broadcast booth, it has been a pleasure broadcasting the MV Simsports GT Sprint Series, and we will see you all next week. Have a good rest of your day, and goodbye.